I was sitting in the darkness of the living room, clutching my gun, when I heard their footsteps on the stairs. My wife and her lover, unaware that I had returned early from Seattle, were coming downstairs. In my pocket were tickets to Miami, a surprise that turned into a nightmare. Today, everything would change. Jake Harris stepped into his Capitol Hill home in Seattle, the faint hum of the city fading as he shut the door behind him. It was late, too late for lights to be off, on March 12, 2025. At 38, he was a rising star among Washington state's divorce attorneys, a man who'd built a reputation for dismantling marriages with surgical precision. Tonight, though, he wasn't the predator. He'd cut short a Portland deposition to surprise his wife, Kate, with tickets to Miami for their 10th anniversary. The leather folio in his jacket pocket held the promise of sun-soaked beaches and a rare break from his relentless caseload. But the house felt wrong the second he crossed the threshold. His boots scuffed against something soft. He flicked on his phone's flashlight, revealing a trail of discarded clothes. A man's denim jacket, a pair of scuffed loafers, Kate's favorite silk blouse, crumpled like a shed skin, leading from the entryway to the stairs. Each item was a breadcrumb, and Jake's gut twisted as he followed them. Upstairs, muffled sounds drifted down. Low moans, a creak of the bed frame. He'd assembled himself. His breath caught, a cold sweat prickling his neck. This wasn't a homecoming. It was an ambush. He didn't rush upstairs. Jake wasn't wired for rash moves, not yet. Instead, he slid into the living room, his shadow blending with the dark furniture. The Glock 19 he kept in a biometric safe under the coffee table felt heavier than usual as he retrieved it, the cold metal grounding him. He eased into the armchair by the stairs, just out of sight from anyone descending. The position was tactical. Years of courtroom battles had taught him to control the board before making a move. His fingers tightened around the grip, the safety off as he waited. The sound from above grew louder, more careless. They hadn't heard the front door. They didn't know he was here. Jake's mind raced, piecing it together. Kate's late nights at the office, her vague excuses about project deadlines, the way she'd started locking her phone. He'd chalked it up to stress. Her new gig as an executive assistant at Meridian Tech demanded long hours. He'd trusted her. 7 years of marriage, a Craftsman house they'd restored together, weekend hikes in the Cascades. All of it now felt like a hollow shell. The tickets in his pocket burned against his chest, a cruel joke he'd played on himself. He scanned the debris on the floor again. A man's wallet peeked out from the jacket pocket. Jake leaned forward, snagging it with his free hand. Inside, a driver's license. Matthew Matt Brennan, 42, VP of Operations at Meridian Tech, Kate's boss. Photos of a smiling woman and 2 kids stared back at him, their innocence a stark contrast to the betrayal unfolding upstairs. Matt's phone was there too, tossed carelessly on the rug. Jake smirked, a bitter edge to it. Habit, maybe. This wasn't their first time. The noises stopped. Footsteps thudded faintly above, then a giggle. Kate's. Jake's jaw clenched. He wasn't just a husband anymore. He was a hunter, and the prey was about to walk right into his crosshairs. Jake Harris sat motionless in the shadowed living room, the Glock 19 steady in his hand, its weight a cold anchor against the storm brewing in his chest. The Seattle night pressed against the windows, but inside, time stretched thin as he listened to the faint rustle of movement upstairs. Kate and Matt were done for now. He could hear them murmuring, their voices smug and oblivious, like thieves congratulating themselves mid-heist. His thumb brushed the edge of Matt Brennan's phone, still clutched in his left hand. The wallet lay open on the armrest. Matt's life in snapshots. A wife, 2 kids, a suburban address 20 miles away. Jake's lips curled into a grim line. Time to shake the board. He unlocked the phone, no passcode, sloppy, and scrolled to Beth in the contacts. Matt's wife. The call connected on the second ring. A groggy hello, crackling through. "Beth, this is Jake Harris," he said, voice low, deliberate. "I'm holding your husband's phone. Found on my living room floor. He's upstairs with my wife right now." Silence stretched, then a sharp inhale. "What?" Her tone snapped awake, raw with disbelief. "It's 1 a.m. Today was our daughter's 8th birthday, and that bastard didn't come home. Said he had a late meeting. You're telling me he's—" She cut off, fury choking her words. Jake leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Yeah, in my bed. I got home early from trip. They didn't hear me come in." Beth's laugh was bitter, jagged. That son of a bitch. 8 years of this crap. Late nights, excuses. I knew it. Who's your wife? Jake's grip tightened on the gun. Kate. His executive assistant at Meridian Tech. Looks like she's been assisting him with more than paperwork. A beat passed, then Beth's voice hardened. I'm done. He's not seeing my kids again. Tell him that. Tell him I'm filing tomorrow. Jake glanced at the stairs, hearing footsteps above. He might not be in shape to hear it right away. I got a 9mm here, Beth, and I'm not feeling charitable. But I'll make sure you get the message through. Maybe from ER. She didn't flinch. Do what you have to. Just don't kill him. I want him alive to watch me take everything. The line clicked dead. Jake set the phone down, adrenaline spiking as the stairs creaked. His plan crystallized. No rash kills. No jail time if he could help it. He'd wound Matt, scare Kate, and dismantle their lives with precision, legally and otherwise. He dialed his law partner, Sam Carter, next. Jake? It's 1:15 a.m., Sam groaned. Trouble, Jake said. Caught Kate with her boss in our bed. I'm armed, waiting. Might need bail later. Sam cursed. Don't shoot anyone, man. I'll be at the station if it goes south. Keep it clean. Jake chuckled, dark and hollow. No promises. The footsteps grew louder. Kate's light tread, Matt's heavier shuffle. Jake slid Matt's wallet into his pocket and leaned back, gun resting on his thigh. He wasn't just a betrayed husband now. He was a weapon, loaded and primed. Kate's voice floated down, teasing. You think Jake suspects anything? Matt's smug reply. Nah, he's too busy winning cases to notice. Jake's finger hovered near the trigger. They were wrong. Dead wrong. And they were about to find out how much. Jake Harris sat coiled in the armchair. The Glock 19 a steady extension of his fury as the stairs groaned under Kate and Matt's descent. The Seattle house was silent except for their footsteps, Kate's soft patter in her robe, Matt's careless thud, bare feet slapping wood. They hit the landing, and Jake flicked on the lamp, flooding the room in harsh light. Kate shrieked, clutching her chest, her blonde hair tangled from their tryst. Matt froze mid-step, naked and wide-eyed, his bravado evaporating as he registered the gun aimed at his gut. Jake! Kate gasped, voice cracking. It's not. Shut it, Jake snapped, his tone ice-cold, cutting through her stammer. He stood, slow and deliberate, the Glock unwavering. Don't insult me with lies. I heard you. Saw the trail of clothes. How long, Kate? Her hazel eyes darted, lips trembling. Matt took a shaky step back, hands raised. Look, man, let's talk, Jake fired. The shot cracked through the room, splintering the banister an inch from Matt's head. Wood shards sprayed, and Matt yelped, stumbling into Kate. She screamed, collapsing to her knees, hands over her ears. A wet streak glistened down Matt's leg. Fear had undone him. Next one's not a warning, Jake said, stepping closer, his shadow looming. How long? Kate sobbed, mascara streaking her face. A year, okay? Since he got me the job. I'm sorry, Jake, a year, he echoed, voice flat but laced with venom. Every trip I took, every late night I worked, you were here with him? She nodded, choking on tears. Matt, still trembling, tried to edge toward the door. Jake swung the gun back to him. Move again, Matt, and I redecorate my floor with your kneecap. You're VP at Meridian Tech. How many other assistants have you screwed in my bed? Matt's mouth opened, but no sound came. Jake smirked, bitter. Thought so. Expensive night for you. New sheets, new banister. Let's settle the bill. Kate scrambled to her feet, clutching her robe. Jake, please don't hurt him. It was a mistake. Mistake? He roared, the calm shattering. You torched 7 years for a mistake? No protection either, huh? Were you trying to get pregnant? Or just too stupid to care? She shook her head frantically. Birth control, I swear. Just him, no one else. Jake's laugh was hollow. Oh, I believe that part. Matt's the only idiot dumb enough to think this wouldn't blow up. He turned to Matt, eyes narrowing. STDs, Matt? Should I get tested because you can't keep in your pants? Matt stammered, I'm clean, man, I swear. Jake stepped closer, barrel inches from Matt's chest. I don't trust your word. Or hers. The air thickened with tension, Kate's sobs the only sound. Jake's mind raced. Beth's words, Sam's warning. He could end it here, but prison wasn't worth it. Not yet. Here's the deal, he said, voice steady again. I shoot you somewhere non-lethal, Matt. You live, but you pay. Kate, You watch and remember. Before they could react, he aimed low and fired. The bullet tore through Matt's thigh, blood blooming as he crumpled, howling. Kate screamed again, lunging toward him, but Jake grabbed her arm. "Call 911, he said, tossing her his phone. "Tell Beth where the ambulance takes him. She's waiting." He stepped back, gun lowered but ready, as the room spun into chaos. Jake Harris stood over the wreckage of his living room, the Glock 19 still warm in his hand as Matt writhed on the floor, clutching his bloodied thigh. Kate fumbled with Jake's phone, her trembling fingers dialing 911. "Yes, there's been a shooting. My house, 1427 Pine Street. He's hurt bad. Please hurry," she stammered, voice breaking. She dropped the phone, staring at Matt's paling face, then at Jake. "You're a monster," she whispered. Jake's eyes narrowed, but he didn't flinch. "Says the woman who turned our home into a motel. Call Beth next. Tell her county general, assuming he makes it that far." Kate hesitated, then nodded, dialing with shaky hands as sirens wailed in the distance. The cops arrived first, bursting through the door with guns drawn. "Drop it now," one barked. Jake raised his hands, setting the Glock on the coffee table, calm as stone. "Self-defense," he said. "Caught him with my wife. He lunged at me." Matt, groaning through gritted teeth, couldn't contradict. Paramedics swarmed him, staunching the bleeding. Kate stayed silent, eyes down, as the officers cuffed Jake and let him out. In the squad car, his mind shifted gears. He'd planned this. Enough chaos to punish, not enough to ruin himself. Sam would handle the rest. Hours later, at the precinct, Jake sat in a holding cell, the stench of bleach and regret thick around him. The door clanged open. "Harris, your lawyer's here," a guard grunted. Sam Carter strode in, tie loose, eyes sharp despite the 3 a.m. hour. "You're lucky Matt's alive," he said, sliding bail papers across the table. "Cops bought your story for now. Adultery's a hell of a motive. You're out, but don't push it." Jake signed, smirking faintly. "I'm just getting started." Sam raised a brow. "Meaning?" Jake leaned in. "Meridian Tech's VP screws my wife on company time. They're liable. And I've got a new friend who agrees." By dawn, Jake was home, the house eerily quiet with Kate gone. Sam's team had enforced the prenup, ensuring she took only her clothes. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Jake? It's Beth Brennan," the voice said, firm but frayed. "I saw Matt at the hospital. He's a mess, and I'm done. I want it on whatever you're planning." Jake paused, then grinned. "Meet me in my office. 9 a.m. Bring everything you've got on him." She arrived on time, a leather satchel bulging with files, texts, emails, HR complaints Matt's company had buried. "He's been at this for years," she said, slamming a photo of him with another woman on the desk. Meridian hushed it up every time. Jake skimmed the evidence, his legal mind humming. Sexual harassment, hostile workplace, negligence. This sinks him and them. "I'm suing Meridian Tech for millions. You testify, Beth, and I'll make sure your divorce bleeds him dry." Her eyes glinted fierce. "Deal. But I want more. I'm going to law school. I'll fight bastards like him myself." Jake nodded, impressed. "Clerk for me while you study. We'll burn their world down together." The alliance was sealed, a pact born of betrayal. As Beth left, Jake dialed Sam. "File the suit today. Meridian's about to learn what happens when you cross the wrong lawyer." Jake Harris stood on the balcony of his Miami condo, the Atlantic stretching endless before him, its waves glinting under a March 2027 sunset. 2 years had passed since that night in Seattle, since he'd turned betrayal into a battlefield. The air smelled of salt and freedom, a far cry from the blood and rage that had stained his Capitol Hill home. The condo was the same one he'd meant to surprise Kate with, its reservation deferred after the chaos. Now, it was his alone, a quiet victory carved from the ashes. His phone buzzed. Beth Brennan, now Beth Mitchell, her maiden name reclaimed. "Past the bar today," her text read. "Celebrating with the kids. Thanks for everything, Jake." He smiled, typing back, "Congrats, counselor. Drinks on me next time." Beth had become more than an ally. She'd clerked at his firm, her razor-sharp mind fueled by the same fury that had driven him. Together, they'd torched Meridian Tech in court. The lawsuit, hostile workplace, negligent supervision, hit like a sledgehammer. Beth's testimony, backed by years of buried complaints, painted Matt as a predator and Meridian as his enabler. Jake's firm extracted a $12 million settlement, half of it funding Beth's law school and a trust for her kids. Matt was fired, blacklisted, and last Jake heard, he was hawking used cars in Tacoma, drowning in alimony. Meridian's stock tanked. Their CEO resigned. Revenge tasted sweeter in the courtroom than it ever could have through a gun barrel. Kate's fate was bleaker. She'd fled to Portland after the divorce, the prenup leaving her with little beyond her clothes and a battered conscience. Word came through Sam last month. She was back in Seattle, living with her sister, cancer eating her lungs. Terminal, months left. She called the office, asking to see Jake. He'd been in Miami, unreachable, but Sam's update lingered. She sounded broken, man, Sam had said. Jake sipped his bourbon, staring at the horizon. He'd hated her, still did, in fragments, but her suffering stirred no joy, only a dull ache. He'd call when he got back, not to forgive, but to close the book. His life had rebuilt itself, sharper-edged but solid. The firm thrived, bolstered by Beth's new role in family law. She'd turned her pain into a weapon for others. Jake hadn't remarried, hadn't dated much. Trust was a cracked thing, slow to mend. But here, in Miami, he felt the weight lift. The tickets that once mocked him now framed a solo journey he'd earned. His phone rang, Sam. Kate called again, he said. She's fading fast. Wants to apologize. Jake exhaled, the ocean breeze cool against his skin. Tell her I'll see her when I'm back. No promises beyond that. Sam paused. You're softer than you let on. Jake chuckled. Don't tell my clients. He hung up, leaning on the railing. The stars blinked on one by one. Revenge hadn't been the point. Not fully. It was about rising above the wreckage, forging a man who didn't need Kate, Matt, or their lies. The Miami night stretched ahead, vast and unscripted. It wasn't the life he'd planned, but it was his, hard-won and whole. Sometimes, he thought, the best endings come from the worst beginnings.